All right, welcome back everybody to another video. I wanted to get into this clip here of Melinda Gates addressing the controversy surrounding the recent released information regarding Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Gates. Now, fast forward or back up a few months here, we already knew without a shadow of a doubt that Bill Gates was involved with Jeffrey Epstein. We already knew that. That's not new information. But what is new information is the extent to which Bill Gates was involved with Jeffrey Epstein. I'll flash the email correspondence up on the screen right now. But Bill Gates was essentially involved in some pretty disgusting, degenerate stuff. And this is very likely why Bill and Melinda Gates actually got separated all those years ago, or 3 or 4, 5 years ago. I can't remember exactly when that happened. But I remember thinking at the time that it just didn't make sense. Bill and Melinda Gates sort of represented this social entity that had taken on a life of its own, almost akin to the relationship of Michelle and Barack Obama, where they almost become their own thing. They're bigger than their own relationship. They have their own foundation. They have their own investments. They have their own organizations. And so you just sort of think that their relationship will just continue. Almost like, again, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, whether or not they're actually together, living in the same house or sleeping in the same bed at night, likely not, but their relationship as it represents an entity, you just sort of assume it's going to just continue forever. And so I thought it was very confusing at the time why Bill and Melinda Gates got separated. Something didn't really make any sense there. But now we have a lot more information. So I want to play this clip here and you guys can see what Melinda Gates says.
The emails in the files suggest that Bill Gates had additional affairs and that he tried to get medication to treat a sexually transmitted infection, and that he was going to give you the medicine without you knowing. His representative has said all of this is false. It is not on you to have to respond to the details of that alleged behavior, but I wonder what your dominant emotion is when you read these news articles with these details.
Sad. Just unbelievable sadness. Unbelievable sadness, right? And again, I'm able to take my own sadness and look at those young girls and say, my God, how did that happen to those girls, right? And so for me, it's just sadness for, I left my marriage. I had to leave my marriage. I wanted to leave my marriage. I had to leave I felt I needed to eventually leave the foundation. So it's just sad. That's the truth, right? And it's kind of like, at least for me, I've been able to move on in life.
Now, is Melinda Gates an angel herself? Likely not. But was this something that probably affected her? Yeah, I'm assuming so. And we know that simply based on the fact that Bill Gates was literally asking Jeffrey Epstein for a medication to treat a sexually transmitted disease that he had contracted. So obviously their relationship was still cohesive in the sense that they were likely still together. They were likely still in some sort of marriage that resembled, something that common people would understand. Otherwise, why would Bill Gates actually care to try and secure medication in order to hide this? The whole reason Bill Gates was doing this is pretty obvious. He obviously didn't want Melinda Gates to discover this illicit affair. So I don't know. Does that sort of speak to Melinda Gates not being involved in some of these other activities that Jeffrey Epstein was involved in and Bill Gates was involved in? Maybe. The fact that Bill Gates was trying to hide up his own activity and his own correspondence with Jeffrey Epstein sort of speaks to that. It's hard to know. We don't really know. So far, Melinda Gates hasn't actually appeared, in any real way in the Epstein documents. But anyways, that is the latest from Bill and Melinda Gates. And of course, nobody is surprised that Bill Gates is involved with Jeffrey Epstein to this capacity. Everybody already knew this. I think people already knew this well before the Epstein files were even released. I think it was pretty obvious, but this just confirms people's suspicions that, listen, like these billionaires, this elite class is not the moral authority on life. These are not the people that anybody should be taking any sort of advice from on anything to do with how we live our lives.